And now, Legal Perspective with Allie Menegakis.
Attorneys always have a list of "if only my clients knew this" moments. Well, joining us to share her top nuggets of knowledge is Allie Menegakis, attorney for the Clekis Law Firm, on this week's Legal Perspective. And I'm sure countless times you've had clients come to you and you're just thinking to yourself, I wish they knew to do this or to not do this. So why don't we start here? So in the case of a criminal situation, what is the first thing that you would suggest that they do or not do?
Gosh, I'm so happy you picked this topic, honestly, because it pains me every time I get police reports, and clients especially just start talking to law enforcement and they start answering questions, and regardless of the degree of the offense or the crime or what they're arrested for, they think that they can talk their way out of being arrested. And most of the time, you can't. And what you're doing is you're actually making it so much more difficult for your lawyer down the road. So there definitely are certain things that you need to tell law enforcement. For example, if you're driving your car, you get pulled over for a traffic infraction, you obviously have to provide them with your identification, your driver's license, right? Because we have a duty to have a driver's license when we're driving a vehicle here in the state. You have to provide them with your insurance information, all of those things. But if they start asking you other kinds of questions, if law enforcement starts asking you questions like, hey, where are you coming from tonight? How much have you had to drink? All these kinds of things. The first thing I tell clients to say is, am I free to leave?
Ah, okay. And so that's the first thing that you should say. So where were you tonight? And you say, am I free to leave?
I'm sorry, do I have to answer these questions, or am I free to leave? And the reason I say that is because, you know, we hear about Miranda. We've talked about that before, right? The only time that Miranda rights are triggered is if two things happen. One, you are being asked questions by law enforcement, and two, you're in custody and you're not free to leave. So law enforcement, if they come up to you, if they came in right here and they started asking us questions, they wouldn't have to advise us of our Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent, you have a right to an attorney, only if we're in custody. So really, if an officer says, no, you're not free to leave right now, well, am I being detained? Do I have to answer these questions? Well, I'm just doing an investigation. That helps me down the road because that triggers that they're not free to leave, and they should have been read Miranda rights, and they have the right to an attorney.
And if they still pepper you with questions, just sit there silently?
What I tell my clients to say, and my family and my friends, is I'm not answering any questions. My lawyer told me not to do that.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
so
you
put
can
the
blame it
onus
on me.
Your attorney. Yeah, I mean, easy enough, easy enough.
And even when you're innocent of certain things, why do I tell people not to answer those questions? One, because you don't have to. You know, that's the great thing about living in this country. You know, sometimes I think about, like, this morning I was thinking about, like, our founding fathers. What would our founding fathers think today of the fact that people are regularly stopped by police officers, government agents, and being frankly interrogated about where they're coming from, what they had to eat, what they had to drink, where they're going, all of this stuff. I want to look in your car. Let me look in your car. It's not American.
No.
You know, you should protect your rights, be proud of your rights, even if you are innocent and even if you have nothing to hide.
And that actually segues into the next thing. What about searches? So when do you consent to searches?
I would never consent to a search personally, even if I had nothing to hide. Again, for the same reason. I have the right, the Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable searches and seizures. And if law enforcement's trying to search through my vehicle, that's none of your business. It's the same thing with my house. Do you have probable cause to come into my house and search into my house? No.
Do you have to have a warrant in order to search?
For a house, yeah, but not for a vehicle.
Okay.
But you do need probable cause. So one of the top ones that we see law enforcement using is the odor of marijuana.
Sure.
And that's their ability to go and search your car.
All right, and then what about recording something? So is it okay to get your phone out and start recording?
It's such a good question. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, law enforcement in the state, they are recording us always.
Well, they wear body cams.
Oh, yeah. They have body cameras, they have dash cameras. Everything that you say, everything that you do is being recorded and is going to be presented in a trial against you for a criminal charge.
Okay.
Every single thing. So the first thing to remember when you're pulled over by law enforcement is that everything that I say, every motion I make, and everything I do is going to be used against me and shown to a jury in my trial.
Interesting. So what's good enough for the goose is good enough for the gander.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's important that citizens hold our law enforcement accountable.
Sure.
You know, when you're taking out your phone, you know, it's always important. Officers are concerned for their safety, and there's obviously a public interest in public safety. So make sure you tell them, listen, I'd like to take out my cell phone. I'd feel more comfortable if I could record this, things like that. Or, you know, maybe upon when you're getting pulled over. And I do this too. I put my phone up and I press record, and I have it in my little station there, and I have it recording the whole interaction if I'm pulled over, just for my safety and my rights.
And you're within your rights to do that.
100%.
Allie, thank you so much. Great to talk with you again. Appreciate it. For more information on Clekis Law Firm, you can go to 843-9000000. That's the number. We'll be back after this.
This has been Legal Perspective with Allie Menegakis.